Well, everybody who's just jumped on, Jamie Monroe and Paul Day here. Paul is the new GM and head coach of the NLL Philadelphia Wings. Great to have a program back in Philadelphia. And he's also the GM of the Peterborough MSL Lakers, the senior Lakers. They are hosting the Red Men, the first round of the senior playoffs coming up this week. And we're watching a game breakdown. So Paul was great enough to send us a film. I'm gonna pop that up here. And we're going to get going. But our goal here with all of these, Paul, is to do our best in. Can everybody see? Paul, can you see the screen?
Yep, it's great.
Yeah. So our goal here is to just talk lacrosse and have you drop knowledge on us. Before we get going, just give us a quick, for the new people on here, give us a quick update about how excited you are about the Philadelphia Wings.
We're so excited. It's I was lucky enough to have been in the league since 1991. So, for 20 years, it was our favorite road trip for us from Rochester or any team going into Philadelphia. Obviously, fantastic fans, but they filled the place, 16 to 18,000. I started playing and coaching in the Spectrum in the early 90s. It was a madhouse, and then they moved to the new rink. Same thing, great success. The Wings are tied with the Toronto Rock for the most championships in league history, so we plan bringing that back. And now with our ownership group with the Philadelphia Flyers, Comcast, Spectacor, it's a pretty outstanding group behind us. So guys are excited. We're lucky enough we've got 10 players now out of the expansion draft, and free agency's starting on Wednesday, so hopefully we get another 10 in a week or so, and we'll get a really good base of Canadians, Americans, and young native players as well.
It's awesome. And what's your take on, Americans playing box lacrosse as far as in the
I think, our success in, when you played in the league and I played in the league, there was always more Americans. The bottom line is the Wings were based, their success was based on U.S.-based players with a handful of Canadian guys. So, we hope to be able to sign, 8 to 10 U.S. guys before training camp, maybe more, but the growth of our league with Philadelphia and San Diego, and then more expansion in the next couple of years, it's going to be really based on getting more U.S. players back into the league, and hopefully we can work a schedule that guys can play in the NLL in the winter and then transition right into the MLL, because it's the best thing for lacrosse. Obviously, I'm not at that level, but that's all of our goal, is to have these guys, being able to play
all year round pro lacrosse, right?
Year round, and be pro lacrosse players. And this is the time. The talent level in Canada and the U.S. it's at its peak, and the games are so, all this takes all the best out of the field game into the box game, and it's a great game. It's better than, I enjoy it more than the summer, the NLL, as far as the rules. It's faster, more exciting for sure.
Are the nets a little bigger in the NLL than they are in the MSL? Or are they the same?
Yes, no, they're bigger, 3 inches bigger, so they're 4'9". So it's it's definitely, and I would say the goaltenders' pads are smaller in the wintertime than they are in the summer as well.
Cool. Well, Paul, awesome to have you on board. I'm going to get this thing going on full screen here. Tell me if you can see. Are you seeing my screen?
Yep, I sure am.
All right. Well, the great thing is that we have some really great footage here. At your home Peterborough games, there's just so many camera angles. It's awesome. So we're just going to start rolling clips, and you start talking about it, and I'm going to ask questions.
Yeah, it's great. You're seeing the best box players in the world here playing. You get about 3,000 a night in Peterborough, almost sell the place out, and you've got some great players here. The first clip you see is what the Saskatoon Rush do really well in our league. There's Mark Matthews feeding to Curtis Knight, Shane Jackson up picking off ball. Finding when you see him up pick off ball, or for basketball people, we call it backdoor, obviously.
So over here, you're talking about, right, the lefties?
Yep. And you'll see the lefties off ball, the balls, and it's almost timing. He's going to set that just as the guy starts to attack. You see him set the pick high on the back there. That's so the guy can't grab the stick off ball. You can basically watch, both referees are watching the ball, and then it's a quick up pick. And he's going to catch and shoot high, You see how high his hands are. You see the overhand. He can shoot at everything there. It's tough on the goaltender. It's such a quick release. Defensively, we would tell the player that's checking him, Nick Weiss, 45 from the Buffalo Bandits, to work inside out. So to stay inside him, he lets him get facing the ball, hips to the net, catches that. That's a quick release. It's tough for the goaltender, and it's a bang play, but that's all timing.
One of the things that's so amazing is, when you think about box lacrosse, I mean, there's so little to shoot at, and these angles in this game are amazing. And when you watch these guys with their hands high and look at how much angle he gains by twisting it over, it's just really a thing of beauty to watch this. I mean, hands high, I really think might be the most fundamental teaching point of passing and shooting and playing lacrosse that you just don't hear that often. Do you agree with that?
Absolutely. And Jackson, he doesn't see that corner, but the eyes at the top of his stick see the corner. He uses his stick as his eyes. There's probably no chance he actually sees that corner, but his eyes that are 44 inches away from his hands at the top of his stick are what sees that corner. Nice transition goal here. Big in our game. The more transition goals you have, the better chance you have winning in the NLL or in the summer. And that's just a quick overhand shot by Matt Springer from New England. Overhand, bouncer, 5-hole. It's great. Anytime you shoot overhand, you can shoot at every angle of the net. Sidearm, it's going to go, mid-range, but that's a good shot. You'll see a lot of 5-hole goals, even with the wood sticks. You'll see a lot of 5-hole goals.
Why is that?
Well, I think the goaltenders from the winter time to the summertime, they have to use plastic field sticks in the winter time. Then they go to the wood, and it's heavy. It's definitely, you would think it would take it away, but by this time of the season, so this is a game a little earlier in the season, 1st of July, where now they're a little more used to using the woods.
Yeah.
On this play here, you'll see 18, Connor Kiernan. He went to Canisius. He's sealing his own man. And if you can pause it there, he seals the inside shoulder. So 77, Zach Courier, we all know Princeton, Team Canada, Denver out last, Calgary. He's sealing his inside shoulder, the one that's inside to the net, not the one to the boards. And when he does that, he's basically setting a screen on Curtis Knight's man. And then he's just tucking it in. It's at mid-range. We love mid-range shooting in NL summer lacrosse. From the outside, it's easier. From the mid-range where he's shooting, the goaltender's kind of in no man's land. But it's the seal of his own man. He doesn't even have to really bump into Sorensen. He could just stay with him. He's given him enough that Curtis Knight, we call it turn in the corner. It comes around here. He could fade, but he turns that corner, gets everything facing the net. Looks like he's going to shoot, hips, everything towards the net, and then that quick release. It's a great shot.
One of the things that's so interesting here, and I noticed Jeff Teat does this a lot. I've noticed Connor Fields doing this too, but it's a very subtle kind of hitch that allows him to turn that corner, because basically right there, it looks like he's about to shoot. It's sort of an on-the-run hitch and go, underhand, that freezes the defender who's thinking about helping in there, like right there. It gets him through that gap.
And positionally, Bryce Sweeting, we would want him a step back into the middle to show, so that he just kind of pulls that ball out. He's a bit high, but he's worried about the change coming on the floor, getting sealed. But if he's back into the dotted line there, he just turns that out, and there's nothing. Even though he's going to be open coming off the pick, it's show, and in box it's slow to go. We don't have to go there, but he puts himself in a bad position.
And what do you think about the way he releases the ball? I mean, he ends up like kind of getting the shot off underhand, near side, I think.
And a nice quick right there release. Because most goaltenders are going to think he's going to tuck that and keep coming mid-range to low. But he shoots at a perfect timing, I think, because the mid-range, he has the best angle. The closer he gets to the net, the worse his angle gets.
Why is that?
Because right now where he is, good angle, he can shoot at everything. One more step, and I don't think he can shoot short side.
That's right. and off the pipe and in. It's just amazing the accuracy with these guys.
Quick release. Curtis is a kid that should have played in the U.S. and he played at McGill University.
What's his name again?
Curtis Knight plays for Saskatoon. He played Canadian college field, but should have played in the U.S. So if you notice, Mark Matthews is lower, bringing the ball to the corner. Obviously, he's big body. They're worried about him, but you see almost like a high to low slip. So he looks like maybe the other defender thinks he's going to seal for him, and he just slips it. And again, that mid-range, far side, hip or knees, quick release by Ryan Keening.
It's really interesting too, Paul, is the way he feeds this thing, because it's like he's got kind of he knows he wants the look to feed, so he's going with a hard cradle, so it kind of looks like he's just kind of carrying, and then he pops it out with like what I would call a lever pass.
Yeah, a little lever. Yep, absolutely.
He's a master of that, isn't he?
He sure is. And I mean that shot. I think the other angle showed from behind.
Yeah,
that's a perfect shot at the knee or the hips.
Yeah, it's amazing, how important it is to shoot at knees and hips, whether it's field or box.
Absolutely. I mean, well, the goalie, that's the big thing. We'll talk to kids sometimes about as the goalie steps with one leg, shoot at the leg he's stepping on, shoot at his hips in the indoor game.
One of the plays that happens here too is that this guy, 32, who is that right here?
Oh yeah, we should talk about that. That's Shane Jackson cuts the middle, so he just clears the whole lane for him. Oh, that's so huge.
So huge. And that's like one thing that coaches in field, our field game for a lot of reasons is sort of more like about, creating space for dodges, having double teams occur and then having scripted spacing so that you can bang the ball. And it's all great. But the ability to do what Shane Jackson did right here, which is make yourself be covered by a really dangerous hard cut, works in both games. And if you can get guys to do that, it's massively important.
Yeah. And we'll see another clip later on where we say, when that guy cuts, just go fill his space.
Right.
If guy slides, a D guy slides, go wherever that D guy was, go fill that space because that's open space. So I think we see in a couple more clips the exact same Corey Vitarelli scores on that. And that shot, I mean, perfect shot.
What was deceptive about this shot?
Just keeps it high and then shoots it right at the hip where I don't want to say that it's impossible to stop, but he's fading to his short side. It almost looks like he's going to shoot short side. And then
it does. It's kind of like a leaner. And, if you lean, and you're down low here, it's killer. You'll never score. But when you've got angle and you lean a little bit, I think that's what makes the goalie take a little bit of a step to the short side. Is that right?
Absolutely. Yeah, you can see his weight is on his left foot. We talked about Randy's stats earlier. Randy's the best at coming. He's a righty at coming down the backside, shooting far side with a bit of a leaner top cheese, and that is the way he does it. Unbelievable.
This one was kind of hard to see. We'll see if we can get an angle on what happens. Otherwise, maybe we'll go to the next clip.
And he's on his wrong side. You watch. He's on his wrong side, and Mark Steinhaus is checking him and lets him go. Totally lets him go.
Yeah.
And in our game, you never let a guy go by. As soon as he goes by, you're going with him. But he's on his wrong side, and he gets body position because he's a righty on his wrong side here. So, and Zach Courier's chasing him. Nice patience in the air to be able to finish on his wrong side.
But, the key to both that, we were looking at that transition goal when the guy was kind of coming down the wrong side, this cutting goal on the wrong side. The common denominator is getting to the middle, and that's what he does here. By getting all the way to the middle, it gives him his angles to both sides, correct?
Yeah, stick high. You can shoot anywhere in that net. Likely can't shoot low there, but the patience in the air to be able to kind of wait out the goaltender and put it in it's pretty important. Simple defensive laps too.
Yeah.
I think we get down 6-0 in this game. Again, I love feeding from low to high. And that's Mark Matthews. I mean, you give him time and space. Great thing is Mark catches this. All the D guys are kind of looking. The feed from behind the net low. then everybody's got to come back and reset, and time and space there. He can shoot that anywhere. He can shoot that all corners, great angle, high to low. Obviously, a lot more time and space than you want, but I think that's 6-0. We're down. We end up coming back and winning, but that was a tough start.
It is. So let's talk a little bit about the motion that they're using. I know it ends up being a little bit of a bobble here, but what are they doing to sort of, their entry here on the righty side?
I know if you watch some of the Moneyball stuff online, Saskatoon is the best at picking off ball and creating offense off ball, and that's they swing that and they want to time a pick on it. It ends up being a broken play, but I think on the first goal it's similar. The lefty will carry over the top. You see Ryan Keenan will carry over the top to the rights. They want to set that pick 17 in the middle to get him topside. Kind of breaks down a little bit, but the key with all this is you check their spacing. Look, it's great spacing. They're spread out great, tough to defend against. So I think a lot of times when we throw our systems of offense, it's really just to get movement and to get spacing. That's the correct spacing. Give Mark lots of time and space. Broken play, but they're nice and spread out. We use the whole floor. The corners, the top, and the middle. And that's Derek Keenan and the Saskatoon Rush are probably the best at the spacing.
Now, were you saying that they were looking to set this so that he had the option of coming topside and playing out of a sort of a pick and roll or maybe a nation's look? Is that the next step if he doesn't have a shot?
Absolutely. Yeah. Get topside, and then for all these picks, you're trying on ball or off ball. You're trying to create a 2-on-1.
Yeah.
And with the new pressure defense, I don't want to say new, but he sets that if he comes topside, then Withers, who's checking him, has to make a decision to go with him or to switch. And Hogarth, who's right in the middle of the floor with white shoes, he has to take Mark Matthews there. And the position that pick set at, 8 times out of 10, he's probably getting open. Mark carries topside, and Ryan Keenan's going to be open off ball after he sets the pick. That's really what you're trying to create. And as long as he drives to the middle of the floor to create that 2-on-1, the great thing is he could carry 2-on-1 to the top of the floor, hit a right. So the lefty hits a right, and then the guy who set the pick, Keenan, would get it from the right because the angle's better. The ball's lower.
And that's what I'm referring to, the nation's look. So you're saying he zips it to a righty, and then after Ryan sets it, he's cutting to the net. And that frees him up a lot, too, because it's a lot easier for a team defense to defend a pick and roll than a nation's look, with the fact that, you can't defend both sides of the floor at the same time and double.
Yeah, we always say that in, you're an extra pass to glory, because we say lefty to righty back to lefty, or righty to lefty back to the righty who set the pick. Because you don't need the ball very long. If it's that righty in the corner, Mark could feed right on the crease. It'll be in and out of his stick in half a second, and the same thing, Keenan will catch it and just shoot it. So Saskatoon does that better than anybody in box lacrosse in any league. That's why they're successful.
For all the field lacrosse folks that are coaches in here, I personally think working on nations looks as an IQ developer might be the best possible way for developing skill and IQ, because it gets, like you said, it gets the ball out of your stick, it swings the ball, and it teaches multiple people how to play together. So, hey, talk about the shot a little bit.
Yeah, some people are asking about what the nation's look it is. So basically, it's 2 lefts setting a pick, or 2 rights, and instead of you're bringing up the whiteboard.
Yeah, I'll do that.
Instead of the ball carrier hitting the guy who's setting the pick, you make the extra pass lower, and then he makes the pass. So it's an extra pass, 2 lefts. The lefty hits a righty, the righty hits the lefty. But Jamie will be able to draw it here.
So I'll just draw. I don't have the ability to draw a good dotted line for you here, but let's just sort of look at the scenario that just kind of happened. There's like a pass, there's a pass, there was Matthews, there was Keenan, there was a righty. The ball was like getting swung up up to Matthews here, and Keenan was coming in to set a pick on his man. His man here is got to be ready to switch it in the case that he comes. And essentially, we're talking about passing it over here to a right-handed player and then rolling this picker to the net as his man has to step up and switch onto Matthews coming. And then this man is automatically on the wrong side of the net from this cut. And so instead of Matthews feeding the pick and roll, you throw it across to the righty, and then he feeds the pick and roll.
Yeah. Oh, and you could even, Matthews could, a great job. Some of these guys are really good at, Matthews would come around that, look like he's shooting the ball as hard as he could. And he hits the crease guy, opposite righty. Looks like he's shooting.
Down here?
Yeah. And then looks like he's shooting, and then he's going on that. That's a great look, because
Better
you
angle.
see that awesome angle, quick, really, really quick. So either way, but that's kind of I think exactly Jamie's verbiage, the nation's luck, but it is, if we could get every pro player to do that offensively, you'd have so much success.
So when I sort of talk about this as from a teaching perspective, when you're trying to teach box lacrosse to kids, one of the simplest, best things you can do is just teach them how to get an extra feeder over there, and you get, your defenders guarding. And this is me, a field guy teaching box lacrosse. So I'm not going to try to pretend that I know what Paul Day knows. But if you can pass down to him and figure out a way to pick down and drive off of it and send the pass over to the feeder, and then after the picker sets the pick, on this guy, if he cuts to the net, and this feeder then learns how to feed that pass and see it, and at the same time, the dodger can look to get a give and go back. It's just great IQ. So that's just a drill that I'd like to do with field kids to teach them the idea of the 2-pass pick and roll, or what I would call nation's luck.
Yeah, it's great.
Yeah, it's good, cool stuff. All right, let's get back to our video here. Can you see it?
Yeah.
All right. So real quick on the shot, lots to talk about here, but what a shot, huh?
And he can, anywhere he wants to shoot, high, low, short side, that goes in short side, doesn't it?
Yeah, it goes short side off the pipe and in. Look how he gains angle with his stick. The way he gets his stick. I see so many box players do this, Paul, where they almost like he's pitching a little bit, but he almost arches his back, and he's just gaining as much short side angle, it looks to me, as possible, which gives him that, and also gives him the ability to, he still has plenty of far side angle, but by bringing his stick almost over his head like that, it's pretty awesome.
Yeah, John Grant Jr. was one of the best at that, the way he shot that. It is so true. I think it goes back to, I grew up playing against Paul and Gary, and they hide the ball so well with that overhand. That's it. The goaltender doesn't see it. He hides it so well. So I think this is the one I was talking about earlier. Graham Hossack's the defender here. He leaves that space to go. He leaves to go double the ball, and Corey Verrilli just, wherever he left, he's just going to slide into that spot, stay there, find wherever he left, go fill that defenseman's spot, and then finish in tight. Pump him high, shoot low. I mean, not a great angle right on the crease. Really, the goaltender's got the angle here, but just one quick double, he goes to him, 4 goes to him, one pass, another extra pass right in there, and finish. And I think we talked about that. Defenseman leaves, go fill his spot.
Now, why was he sliding so early into this?
Well, that's basically when the ball carrier carries low into this, especially when he's got one hand on a stick. That's when you want to attack. Usually, you're going to, if the defenseman 43 stays on his hip rather than kind of committing low, and Graham takes him low, they're going to double him and steal the ball. But 43 gets off of his hip, he should stay right on his back there. And Graham comes, and then he might be able to flip that, but 5 will probably pick it off. Yep. 5 thinks he's going to go to Vitarelli, but 23 is standing right in front of the net. Good goal. That's a tough.
It was. Time. And a really subtle play is that he fakes a little bit with one hand on this. He goes underneath and he fakes his back with one hand subtly. And forces back to get all the way down. We didn't make that play, but he fakes it right there, very subtle. But it's the same thing. The backhand pumps all the time, and when they go with one hand, it's really the same thing, but with one hand rather than two.
We practice that all the time, pick and pop. And the great thing here is, as Holden Katoni gets it, great shooter, probably our best shooter. If he catches that carrying to the net, pumps number 5, he probably goes around and shoots mid-range anyways. But the pick and pop there, outstanding job.
At this end, we don't get the benefit of the goalie angle.
No, we don't. Great pass here. Sean Evans, we're on the power play here. Sean Evans.
Who backhands this one?
Holden Katoni.
88.
To the crease, and we've created a great triangle there. Kyle Buchanan cutting off the crease, in transition and in box across. We love triangles. So from Holden Katoni, backhander to Turner Evans. He already knows that Kyle Buchanan's cutting. Perfect triangle. Catch, quick release. One of the slipperiest guys, Kyle Buchanan, inside there. But, you see that triangle from lefty to righty.
Similar triangle to the Nations looks too, eh?
Exactly. I mean, we're always, not that we're good with geometry, but that's what we're looking at here, right?
And one of the things I remember watching when I used to watch Mammoth games when Gary Gate was playing, on the power play, he would always, instead of, when this defender's kind of overplaying his ability to throw it to the top center man, he's obviously a lefty, but he would fake it to him and then face dodge as if he was going to the net, draw them in, draw everybody in, and then throw it back around him with the backhand. That's the application of what I would, I know you guys call behind the backs backhands. In the U.S., we would call that behind the back. But from a terminology perspective, so everybody knows what we're talking about. But that using your face dodge to sell that you're going to the net and then be able to wrap that pass around is the ultimate way of buying time and causing rotations.
And even in this play here, just the simple drag and pass to Corey Small from Katoni, if he doesn't go to the corner, 15. When he gets, you'll see right here, passes it backhander just to the shooter position rather than going down low. That's a great shot for Corey Small, too.
Yeah. Well, also it's interesting, too, because I think that this is Katoni, you said, right?
Yeah. And
everyone's expecting him to backhand it to him, really, the next rotation, and he skips it. And I guarantee you he's trying to make it look like he is throwing it there, don't you think? And that's what allows him to kind of pull it down low and really gives the shooter the angle.
And again, Kyle Buchanan cutting, kind of filling the the space that a defender would be in usually. Just cut there, find the seam, right through, and quick release. That's a great goal by him. And stick low, but he can shoot either hip. He usually shoots back to that backside hip where he came from, where the goalie's coming across.
Is that where he puts this one? Is that to the short side?
It looks like it's short side.
Yeah, and so it's interesting too because when their hands are high, they have a little bit more time to do things. When they drop their hands, they seem to just make a quick play.
Yeah, I mean, I talk to our guys all the time, especially guys who are goal scorers that are having, over the years, everybody has a hard time scoring. When they're having a hard time scoring, I just say quick release. Just quick release. Don't worry about where it goes. Just quick release, because then it kind of gets back into the goal scoring. And here's another one. Transition. Chris Corbeil, one of the best overhand shooters in transition. Kind of sneaks in there, but he usually picks both top corners in transition. He's the captain for the Saskatoon rush, and this time he throws it low. And the funny thing is, for goaltenders in the NLL, they know all the goal scorers. They hate when the defensemen shoot on them because they don't shoot on them very, very much. There's not a lot of video on them. They might get one shot a game. So the goaltenders will see, where Corey Small shoots 10 times in a game or 15 times. So they kind of get a book on them. They don't have a book on the defenseman.
What's really awesome about this too is and it's just a great thing about lacrosse in general, but at box lacrosse in particular, is there's so many 2-on-1s, and you talk about the whole thing is to be able to get the 2-on-1, but really it's then taking advantage of it. And the amount of times he fakes passes and threatens to shoot, you can see how he fakes a pass early, and then he brings a stick back right here like he's going to shoot it, and he brings that guy right back to him and just buys time for his receiver. That goes back to why I think box lacrosse is such a great way to develop players, because this is the whole game right here, is not just making the pass, but drawing and buying as much time for the receiver as possible using fakes.
And when we teach kids this, see how they're not linear? The ball's below Corbeil. Corbeil waits a little bit, so when he catches it, he's got a good angle. If they're in a straight line, that defenseman will block that. But LaFontaine's below him with the ball, which is great. You either got to be below or ahead of it, one or the other. You can't be on the same line. I think that they did such a good job with that. You see another transition goal coming off the bench, hands high. There's no way you can see that, but the eyes at the end of his stick, or the little holes I say at the end of your head, I call those are the best eyes you have. They can see everything. Kyle thinks, well, maybe that's there, but he can't see with his eyes, but his sticks on the reach around sure can.
Who finished this?
Kyle Buchanan again. He's going hard across the net. Goalie comes hard with him, and he just uses those eyes in his head to reach back around him.
Fake.
That's a great look here. Fake.
Such a great look. It's really cool too. It's subtle stuff, but he fakes subtly, and then he fakes bigger, like he's going to reach.
Yeah.
Doesn't he, on his third or fourth one?
Yeah, and that's the key. Sometimes you see young kids fake low, shoot low, and he kind of pumps it, looks like he's going to shoot far hip, and then goes right over top of him. And not much Mike Poulin can do. That's a great goal.
And look at that angle of, like you said, his stick can see that corner, and there's no way his eyes can see it.
I mean, it's 35 inches from his eyes. Those are the most important eyes that he has, is on that stick. Nice quick release mid-range here. So attacking the net off a change. And Sean Evans.
Is that Sean Evans?
Yeah. Attack right off. A bit of a swim move. And then that's how Chris Corbeil, a great defender. And then shoot quick. Get out of your stick quick.
He really
doesn't go in, but it's a great opportunity.
It's funny because a lot of the way that you see Canadians swim is they don't, like in the U.S. a lot of times people swim and they switch their hands, and in Canada when they swim, they're swimming really just to get back to their strong hand. The way he's able to get this thing right back, hands high. Look at that.
And he can shoot anywhere. Good shot, quick release. Like Dan Dawson is one of the best at swim and shoot mid-range.
This play is so cool to watch on a lot of different angles.
So you could spend the first two periods setting hard picks to get a guy topside. Hogarth is smart. He stops. He kind of looks like he's going to set a pick. So 43's in no man's land.
Right here, you mean?
And now he's going to decide, do I go or don't? And he catches that. Josh Courier topside wants to shoot it, catches that, and that roll inside. He can go far side or short side. It's kind of going to be in the air a lot of times in the NL, but Hogarth kind of delays. He pauses a little bit, and 43 and the other defenseman likely think he's going to go set a pick, hard pick to get him topside. And because of Courier's attacking, he just kind of hangs on there, catch inside. Most times the guy's going to dart far side. And again, his stick is high.
You know what's really interesting, Paul, is I started noticing, watching a lot of NLL film, that when they were in this position, like right here, when their stick is kind of tucked, when they're going underneath sometimes, when they're spinning for sure, you watch how quickly their stick gets across here, right? You see how quick his stick was getting across. The goalies can't keep up with that, and it's almost impossible for them not to step off the pipe because they'll never be able to keep up with that reach, which is what then sets up his ability to twist it back. And
it is. I mean,
so
that's, and you got to be able to take that kind of hit inside, stay out of the crease.
yeah.
We say that to guys in our league all the time. Like, we want to get topside, but if we don't get underneath, we'll never get topside. And if we don't get up over the top, we'll never get underneath. So, I mean, driving it underneath 5-on-5 is great because the only help they have is the goaltender. If you beat the guy underneath, they're coming across the crease. So this is just a seeing eyeball shot, and sometimes late in the 32nd and indoor, well, anything, hockey, lacrosse, you just shoot it from a bad angle. Goaltender doesn't expect it, and he just sneaks it in there, actually short side.
Look at the fans in Peterborough. They've been to a few lacrosse games, huh?
Yep, the people there, they're clapping. They were in Vancouver last year and won the Mann Cup, so fly out there, play in New West, 3,000 people. And we had about 200 people from Peterborough, which was a lot of fun. But they've probably been watching the game for 50 years up there. And
they probably won a few 50-50s?
Oh, probably. I think we set an attendance record the other night. We had, I think, 3,709 people. I think 3,700 is a sellout, but there was like more people than a sellout. So this is a great off a swing. Corey Small is one of the best. So it's that, again, attacking underneath, turn to the boards, quick pass, and Corey Small steps down like he's going to go underneath. And as the guy go by, uses them as a screen, that underhand, high, low to high, short side. Steps around him, rips it. That's a beauty shot.
It is. And what's really cool, too, is this initial dodger is faking his backhands all day, keeping all the potential switchers on a string, isn't he?
Yeah, and you've got 4 righties and 1 lefty, which is a rare in indoor, but it does screw up the defense a little bit.
That was on.
I mean, Poulin is hard to one side, comes back hard, and he kind of comes out, and you see his left leg. And that's what we talk sometimes to kids about. As he steps with that left leg, shoot where he's stepping. He's kind of stepping his left leg. You might as well shoot at that hip because he can't go lateral once he does that. And he gets kind of stuck in between. And Corey's one of the best shooters around.
Yeah, he shoots a lot of underhand, and he does a lot of like sort of low to high pumps, that low high windups too.
He does, and then has a lot of successes overhand. He pumps it hard.
Yeah.
And see it later. He pumps it hard and gets the goalie to go down a little bit. And this one's off a swing, Shane Jackson. I mean, shoot. That's it. Quick release off of a kind of a screen. Timing there. Swing, body contact, and you're shooting around 3 guys, and it's a kind of a trickler, but it still counts.
Yeah, it does. I love the little backhand pumps all the time. They do that constantly. It's one of the things that American players don't do. Defensemen do it in the U.S. and field, but as soon as they start going under, they start pumping backhands, and that really, a lot of times it makes this guy think that you're feeding it, and it might give you the lane to the net, or it draws both guys to you and opens you up.
Yep. And sometimes the hot guy on the other side might look and start to come. We say we pump that, give the backhand a little pump, and then turn to the boards and look far side because the slide guy might come from the other side in the 2-man game. Here's Hogarth setting that pick high.
Let's get to it.
You see Hogarth, this is kind of old school too. Hogarth goes to set that pick so Courier can go top side, but what happens is you got someone set up behind the net. And again, I mean, for the field guys, it's anytime you get great feeders down there, the whole defense, the goaltender, everybody is in a bad position. So Hogarth is a
kind of like a Nations look without the switch too, right? I mean, they're just saying,
bump,
move it,
pump and go.
Yeah. And look at the way he handles this thing. And then it's like, you know, we would call that a rocker. This stuff all just naturally happens, and you're on your mission to try to get into the middle. But what a handle, huh?
Yeah, and you know what? He plays defense in the NLL.
I know. Yeah, I remember he played defense in the Midfield Cup 2 years ago against Coquitlam.
Yeah. So we use him at both ends just because he's, you know, he's a young kid. And again, look at how high his hands are coming out of this. So he can shoot at everything. Everything.
You know, his fake, so he lifts, he goes, you know, fakes, and then the goalie is anticipating he's going to reach, and he's able to twister it back.
Yeah, and that was the last goal, almost the same move, just different twister.
Let go. Some of the angles here, there's just like literally nothing to shoot at.
No, again, but I mean, these guys are smart enough that they are always reaching. You'll see Josh Courier score that goal coming out of the corner on the next shift. This is just a good shot. But the next shift, out of the corner, he catches it, beats his guy underneath, and there's no help. But watch him reach across. He's using the eyes of his stick to reach across. He doesn't know that it's there, but reach across, far side hip. The odd time the goaltender with his glove can get that, but he reaches so well. Goaltender stepping. As he steps, he's kind of putting it between his glove and his knee and his hip. And he's
when I was mentioning before about on that inside spin where his stick was in that tucked position, this is another example of that same concept where he basically gets his stick to that position. And it's really hard for goalies. What I've noticed, it's really hard for them to keep up with your reach when you go from, because the goalie kind of gets held right there. They're getting held a little bit on the near side puck. Lyle Thompson does that all the time. He comes underneath and he goes back and forth a couple times, actually. He'll go back and forth and hold the goalie there. And in this case, the other thing that's so interesting is look how early he shoots this. He's like, this is like he's almost still even with the tangent of the crease, maybe one step past it when he's shooting far side. And I feel like that's one of the things that most, when I've worked with American kids on finishing, that they, because they want to see the net with their eyes, they come too far and they lose all their angle.
Absolutely, yeah, absolutely. And Josh is a guy who usually does pump goalies going across. So for him, it's smart. And I think most of the time he'll pump, and score. But this time it's a one pump, quick release because that's not his move. So,
yeah.
I mean, we tell offensive guys, if you need 3 or 4 shots, not always. I can watch a kid sometimes play a younger guy in the pro game or in major series lacrosse, and he shoots short side, 8 times out of 10. Well, if I'm seeing it, the goaltender, before he shoots, shooting short side.
Yep.
So you need 3 or 4 shots. And, I think as you mature too, it's a smart play by Josh here because most of the time he does pump, score, pump, shoot. This time it's just a quick release and he freezes the goalie with that stick up high to start.
So he uses a warp. What do you think of the warps? How many guys are using that stick?
He only used it for a couple games. He's gone back to his brother Zach is an engineer at Warrior, so he used it for a couple games. But he led the NLL scoring, goal scoring in the playoffs. So he said, after he switched back, it's not a bad idea. You let it with an Under Armour stick. So I mean, I shouldn't say whether on a warp or not, but I find the ball kind of
bobbles.
I'm not sure if you get enough feel with it. I think it's great for the kids, but I like a little more of a feel, a little more of a custom stick to oneself.
Right. Hey, the last thing I want to point out to the coaches out here is I started teaching. I'll get some videos up for you guys, but one of the best ways I've learned how to teach finishing to young kids, Paul, is to have them literally. It's just almost like he's face dodging before he finishes, right? He's not face dodging a person, but by holding his stick over right here, it's the face dodge movement that you would do. And what I've noticed with teaching finishing to kids is that when they face dodge over early, they can bring their reach across so fast that it makes it pretty easy for them to read whether they should reach it or whether they should jam it back to the short side. So I just want to point that out to everybody. I'll splice it into this later for the guys that are on our coaches training program, but it's a really interesting teaching technique.
Absolutely.
I want to talk about a new skill, a new technique that I've been working on. It's not new in the sense that I didn't make it up. I've seen other players do this, but I've never seen it taught, and I'm really interested in it. It's really cool. So what it is a face dodge finish. So watch this as the player, it's me, comes across the front with a face dodge. And then as you bring your stick back across, it becomes a really powerful reach. Your stick goes from there to there real quick. It's hard for goalies to get there. If you watch the pace at which you can bring your stick across and back, you can see how it would be very hard for a goalie not to jump off the pipe because they're never going to get there to the far side. And so therefore, if they don't jump off the pipe, you're going to score far side. If they do jump off the pipe, you're going to twister it near side. Let's watch that real quick in slow-mo. Face dodge over and a reach. The more you watch this, face dodge over and a reach. Face dodge over and a twist. Face dodge over and a twist. Face dodge over and a reach. It's so smooth too. Face dodge over and a reach, but back to the near side. You know, sometimes you can like fake yourself out. When you fake, and all of a sudden, you know, you're just like, you feel like the biggest loser because you just missed a one-on-one. It doesn't really happen with this. I mean, you might not score every time, but it's so smooth that you're able to just move your stick over and back, and it allows you to read. It really allows you to read what's there. So that's the face dodge finish, and I think it's an awesome skill.
So we get to watch Holden. Holden's probably our best shooter on the run. He likes to set up wide and high so that as somebody bumps, I think you see someone cut on this one as well. Someone cuts to kind of clear that space, and Corey Vidarelli seals his guy after the cut. There's kind of a cut there. Corey bumps his guy. He just needs a little bit of time. Hogarth clears through, and that just creates the space where he's going to run. And then Corey seals 10 and just kind of runs by his guy. It's almost like two guys cutting, and then he follows that. But he shoots the ball so well from high to low with his hands. Like, he had 48 goals for us last year in 16 games. That's a lot of goals.
Yeah, it is. And so the picker seals his own guy and slips out of there so that they don't switch. And then how does he get such a good step though, Paul?
He's got a great first step, awesome first step. And all he needs is a bit of time and space. And I think that defenseman sets up on, if I'm defending him, I'm way over to his stick side. Make him go underneath. Because he likes to go top side, so make him go underneath.
They probably should have had some kind of a switch. They have another guy helping here. But
Yeah.
also, he lifts his hands very subtly, and I think that gets him a step. You know what I mean? Right before he goes, he lifts his hands, and it's just a subtle lift right there, and it just gives him the step he needs.
That's it. Played at Hopkins, and he shoots the ball everywhere. He's one of the guys that very rarely does he drop his stick. He'll have 5 or 6 different shots overhand. Short side, 5-hole, far side, low corner. He shoots them all. He just shoots overhand all the time. And that's why he scores so much.
Who scores this one?
I think that's Knight again. Quick, Knight off a quick release. On the swing, shooting it right off of Hopi, right off of Robert Hope. Just catches, a little time and space, uses them, shoots it. Quick release again. That's Curtis Knight is a great shooter, and he kind of used Robert Hope as a bit of a screen here. So goaltender just sees it at the last second.
Shooting around screens is something that I work with my field guys on all the time, and we usually use tennis balls to practice so we don't beat anybody up and hurt people. But the goalies, you talked about it earlier with the Gates and all these John Grant Jr. They hide their stick, and hiding your stick around the hip of the guy you're shooting at, the defender it's got to be impossible for goalie to make a play on that.
It is, and we practice it for the goalies and for the players. It's definitely this is great. Sean Evans pumps like he's gonna pass far side, and then shoots it short side right at the hip. Like most of the time he's a passer more than shooter in the game, so smart play by him.
There's like literally nothing to look at here.
No, there's nothing.
It's just like we got to get another angle. I mean, look at that. What are you actually even looking at? There's nothing to look at.
Yeah, it's
amazing. Fake, and then where did he put that thing? It looks like he almost went 5-hole with it, Paul.
I did with 5-hole, short side 5-hole.
He did a little bit. It was like one of those, just below the knee 5-hole shots. It was like a little bit, upper 5-hole or whatever you call that.
And again, like a guy that most of the time he leads that league in assists, so he doesn't shoot as much. This is great. And we talked about this earlier with Hogarth and Courier. Again, Courier top side. And you watch Kyle Buchanan, you'll see it set up. He sets up on the inside of the guy's shoulder like he's going to seal his own man. He passes. He's going to have that inside. Then he cuts right to the net quick, slips it. Not much time and space, catches it and finishes. He's one of the best at that. But, probably 2 shifts before that, which we don't see here, he's sealing his own man, and Josh is getting topside and getting a good shot. So this isn't the first time they've run it, but it's the first time that he slipped it all night. Because you'll set physical picks for 1 or 2 periods or 1 or 2 quarters, and then the third and fourth, they know that you're going to seal, so they start to cheat. So then you got to make sure you're on the right shoulder, the inside shoulder, and you slip it.
And the feeder does such a great job, similar to Mark Matthews, is that he's not showing feed at all. He's showing carry. He's showing, I'm going to use this pick. I'm carrying it, and he feeds it from a dodging posture almost that allows.
Yeah, he looks like he's going to attack, so you get the other defenseman off him. The other defenseman on ball steps up and attacks him, then he probably doesn't get the pass through. But I think it goes back to your lever pass.
Yeah, exactly. Same concept.
Yeah. But it's, again, good spacing on that as well. So I think this one you're going to see Corey Small on this one, I think, give the big pump off a swing. Gives the big pump like he's going to shoot. Goaltender goes down, and then he finishes overhand. The last time we saw him short side under, he actually pumps that he's going to shoot underhand there, brings it back overhand. That looks underhand and then brings it back short side.
You know what I call that, Paul? I named it like 4 years ago the Palace Pump because Johnny Palace shot that all the time. Do you remember?
Yeah, we won 3 championships in Rochester with that.
Oh yeah, that's right. You do remember.
Yeah, and then, but and he's another guy, obviously great shooter, but he does that so much that goaltenders know that he's got that hitch, and then shoot it. But
I mean,
Smallsy,
yeah. Sorry.
Smallsy's such a good shooter. He might shoot that 1 every 3 games, but obviously he scored underhand last time. Fakes the underhand, overhand, great shot.
Well, and you can do this shot, you can do a hard pump or you can do almost like a slow lift. And what it does is it kind of makes the goalie jump out of their shoes. In field lacrosse, Kevin Rice is one of the better shooters in the MLL. And he shoots the same shot as he doesn't do the Palace pump on a hard pump. He does a low-high windup. And almost all these guys actually do a low-high windup. They kind of like, they're lift, because as they're lifting their hands, they can pull it whenever they want, and it just really puts the goalie. In this case, obviously, the goalie drops. But
yeah, Joe Walters is good at that too.
Yeah,
gives that quick little pump and then overhand.
So,
but again, it goes to him switching his shot. Last time he scored short side underhand. You'll see some great power. This is some great power plays here. So you see Ryan Keenan going to seal for him. Looks like he's going to take the lane underneath. So if you pause it right there, 94 comes off the crease. He has to step up because Knight has the shot here. A little bit of a drag. And then Ryan Keenan come across to his wrong side, seals right there. He's got the shooting lane. 94 has to come off the crease, hits the far crease, and then 32 hits 18 Conor Kiernan right on the crease. It's not only
just drag a little bit. I feel like that's one thing that in field lacrosse, the higher level teams do it all the time, but people don't realize how important it is. Why? Just talk about what is a drag and why is it effective?
So they're playing catch here, and you'll see Matthews drags backwards to engage the one guy. He's got to engage. So he can drag either side, but it's to engage and create a 2-on-1 at the top. So now they're basically 2-on-1 at the top, or 3-on-2 with the pick.
Uh-huh.
He's in a great shooting position right there. But everybody's sliding, and the smart thing was the crease guys are coming. They're moving up and down the crease to make it tough on the 2 guys that are back on the crease. They're not just standing still. 32 comes up with the ball. So then he creates a great angle, passing angle to the far crease. You see him step off the crease. He was just down at the line.
Yeah.
He catches that, come up. Now he's got a shooting angle or passing. I mean, it's a great pass.
It is, and the goalie thinks he's shooting it too, because you look at the goalie like trying to make the miraculous, cross.
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah.
But 94 is engaged up high, and all the other 18 just kind of fills where he left because he thought Knight was going to come down that lane and step in and shoot it. I mean,
Matthews uses lever pass again too, because one of the things about a lever pass is, it disguises your feed, but it also allows you to take a check because you're not following through. You can bring the defender all the way to you and draw the check and release it with no follow through. Look at his stick. Look, for those people that don't really think about this, look at Matthews's lack of follow through here. What that means is that once the ball's out, it doesn't matter if you take a check.
Yeah, and we talk, and the drag is all about the feet, both of them moving. Look at their feet moving. So they're just trying to stretch that short man or the man down is on a rope, and they're just trying to stretch that rope until it breaks. And that's, 94 Sweeting comes out to it, gets dragged off the crease. So they basically run the same play next, exact same play, except this time the feed comes from down low. Same pick, but he sets that same pick, but now he just cuts off ball into the seam and a quick finish. We saw him, that's the second time in the night where he's finished just that quick little mid-range, boom, catches, finishes.
It's
the exact same pick, just finding, that kind of middle seam where the zone's not there, the box isn't there. And 20 has to lead.
Did he seal the first time? They made it look like he was going to shoot the outside shot.
Yeah.
Is that correct?
Yes, absolutely. He was, or come down that shooting lane. So he just seals it. He finds that lane. Not much anybody can do there.
Is that Tony again?
Tony again, yep. I think on this one you see Vitarelli seal his man and then get a little bump on Catoni's man. I mean, obviously in the indoor game we're more physical in the picks, but we just want to bump a little bit. We don't want to, set this massive pick. You just bump on a hip as you're going by a guy, gets him off balance, and you just need that quick step topside or underneath. That's all you need.
In field lacrosse, you can seal and bump as well. And one great place to do it for those people that are watching, and I'll splice this in later for our coaches training program people, but if you can imagine throwing the ball behind the net to somebody and they want to come right-handed and you seal your own man in on the goal line, and as they're coming, when you see that the Dodger might miss the pick, you can release off your seal and set a stationary pick. And it's still the same concept. It's not a moving pick, but basically your seal leaves the defender in a position where they can't switch. They're in bad position to switch. It's really high IQ and it's teachable. I think that you just have to practice. Honestly, Paul, sometimes I believe it's smarter to teach two-man game by teaching players how to seal their own man and let Dodgers figure out how to use it rather than to try to go pick for somebody else's guy.
Yeah, I mean, you're sealing your own man. You're running off almost like a post end. Yeah. The majority of the time when that happens, you never get a moving pick sealing your own man. Very rarely. Yeah. You're always getting a moving pick sealing the other guy. As he's running, right. You're moving. You seal your own guy, you're not moving. It's almost impossible. So we try to teach guys. Holden Catoni's one of the best at running off. He'll run his man right into that post of right. Two guys and then run off that. And if the guy switches, then it's great. It's that extra pass to the righty or a backhander in the two-man game. So it sets up a great shot. It sets up a two-man game. And I think with kids clinics in the past, we've always taught you come off that and you drive hard and shoot first. That's the first option. If you're one of the guys who fade off of it, you don't turn the corner, then you're never setting up the two-on-one in the pick and roll game. So, I mean, but that's, yeah, I mean, obviously you have V picks and up picks where you're picking other people. But again, off ball, most of the time off ball, you're not going to get called on the moving pick because the refs aren't watching for one, which is great. And the one thing on the other thing is, the first two periods you set that up pick off ball, the goal we saw, but then the second or the third or fourth quarter, you come out of that corner and it looks like you're going to set an up pick, but you 90 degree it. You come out of the corner and just cut 90 degrees from low to high. And if you're not open, you just created all that space for, for the man that you would have technically been picking because your guy has to clear through with you. So you're coming from the crease up, like you're going to set a backdoor pick off ball and then 90 degree turn, cut the net. And that a lot of times that just clears space for people to get underneath.
No doubt. One of the things, just I'm going to draw something that what we're talking about so that some of the guys that are field coaches can kind of understand that if you seal your own guy, and you may not love my angles here, Paul, don't worry about what we're talking concepts more than anything else.
No, I like it a lot.
Perspective. What's that?
I like it a lot.
Okay.
That's exactly what we want to do. I like the angle.
Good. What I want everyone to understand, because this is like such a great way of thinking about teaching two-man game, is that this guy, let's call him, let's call the Dodger here X1, and we'll call this picker here, sealer X2. X2 right now understands that he's creating space behind him. It's very simple for anybody to understand that concept. He can also understand that if his man fights through that space, that he could be open somewhere else. And now X1, it's going to be his job to basically figure out how to dodge his man into this space. And if he's being overplayed in that space, then he can always go away from it. This might be the most fundamental part of two-man game, of setting your own man up to use a pick as well as understanding how to read the defense. And this is true on ball and off ball. And this is why I personally like this way of teaching two-man game as a starting point. And I was just curious what your thoughts. I'm sure you already do this, but this is
and I mean, we just saw Holden Catoni score 2 goals basically off this, so it's fresh in our minds. And you can, Johnny Meridian's taught a lot of box lacrosse, and he will call, there's picks and there's seals. So if you're picking your own guy, you can call that a seal if you want. And then if you're going to go, you're sealing your man. If you want to, now you're going to go somewhere else and set a pick, then, obviously you can differentiate between a seal and a pick if you want. Me, doesn't matter. I've grown up since I was 3 years old with pick and roll. But when you're setting it on your own man, it's a seal. When you're setting it on someone else, it's a pick. So, I mean, this same thing you're showing in hockey in Canada, out of the corner.
Yep.
On a power play, we would run this out of the corner in hockey.
Bump it back, cycle, seal your guy, and let him come.
Basically, I seal my own guy. You got the puck. It's cycling. You come off that. You get a great angled shot. So basketball's the same. So you can call it whatever you want, but I think that some of the time is the language. It used to be back door and front door. Now it's up picks and down picks, just to make it simpler for kids. But you got to make sure you're using whatever language your kids can understand.
Totally.
You can't just stand outside and rip all day long. And that one from about maybe 8 feet out from the creases. This one from way up top. When that moving like that, you know, let it release it very quick and get good position. So the ball's, see it here, outside. Good pick at the front there.
Well, Paul, we ended up with, I think, up to 50 participants on here, and we were on Facebook Live. So who knows? The Facebook universe might have been watching us. I'd love to do this again with you. That was incredibly interesting for me. Hopefully, it was super interesting for everybody else. And so you've got a playoff series coming up against the Redmen. So a repeat of this, and you got a draft coming up, and we wish you
draft in September, and free agency starts Wednesday. So hopefully in the next 10 to 14 days, we'll get a bunch of players signed with the Wings and get people out to come and watch the Wings here starting in December.
Awesome, man. Well, Paul, hey, I'm up in Whitby next week for the girls box provincials. Don't know if you're around, but I'll give you a shout. Maybe you can come watch the little girls.
We'll be there Wednesday and Friday playing against Brooklyn.
Oh, really?
Yep.
I'll be there Wednesday night.
Okay, we'll see you there. Thanks very much. It was
outstanding.
All right,
yep. Have a great day.